may be seated. Council has a copy of last month's meeting minutes. If there's no additions or corrections, I need a motion to approve.
Make the motion.
Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye. Citizens remarks.
We'll make a brief reminder real quick, just a housekeeping item. As a reminder, this is the portion of the agenda where citizens can give their remarks about anything that they want to talk about, whether it's on the agenda, related to the agenda, etc. But this is the portion of the meeting to give those remarks, okay?
I have one from the chief.
If you wouldn't mind saying your name and where you're from.
I've heard.
It's Brian Hannon, 15 Warrenburg Street. Chief, question, the cars that have a bass to them, the musical bass is really
something.
Yeah, I did talk to the guy over here. He has a lot of younger kids that come over there and work on the car and stuff. I did talk to him. I said, "Can you do me a favor? Can you tone it down?" And they did. He was good about it. He honestly was. But now once they drive away, they'll sit somewhere and it just shakes. It just vibrates your whole house. I didn't know if there was anything we could do about it.
I've got numerous complaints from
Well, the
Shelley
only thing we'll be able to do about it is if you have a noise ordinance, and depending what your noise ordinance actually states, that would be able to cite them underneath. Now, most noise ordinances reference a decibel meter, which we do not have.
But the county's noise ordinance says must not be able to hear within 50 feet.
Doesn't matter what the county ordinance says, it matters what the borough ordinance says. We're in the borough, we're not in the county.
Why would the
So we
county?
don't follow borough ordinances or state laws. We don't follow county ordinances, which I don't know of any such thing as a county ordinance. But we follow borough ordinance, township ordinances, and state laws. So if there's something on the books in which we can enforce, we obviously will.
Okay.
I am not up to date on the borough's noise ordinance, but I will become very, very fluent with it
Fair enough.
by tomorrow.
Okay.
And
Yeah, to emphasize or clarify this point, if you recall, or folks that are in the audience recall, a couple of months ago we put together a new ordinance. We haven't advertised that yet, and it's sort of been on a tabled item. But the current ordinance that we have is very old, and there is no decibel requirement in there that I'm familiar with. It's more of a disorderly conduct style of ordinance, and that's one of the things that council's been trying to update. I think it's our most relevant ordinance, maybe from the early 80s or late 70s on this. But in terms of a decibel threshold, decibel cutoff, decibel ceiling, we don't have something like that in the books right now.
the ordinance is not titled disorderly conduct, is it?
No, I don't believe so, but I believe it's a generalized disorderly conduct, catch-all, we'll call it.
Okay.
This nuisance style ordinance. That's what we have in the books.
Put that in the meeting report.
Yeah.
Take that and put it in.
Chief, do you have a machine that can check decibel levels?
We do not have a decibel level.
So even if we have it in there, it's kind of a good point.
I'm not saying that you need to put it in there, I'm just saying most noise ordinances reference a decibel level like 90 dB or something like that, but in order to buy a decibel level, then we have to take it to the state and have some state guys say that it's certified in order for us to enforce it. Whereas if it's a generalized thing, I would recommend that, if we take someone in front of the judge with noise thumping, I would recommend the ordinance reference some type of time frame, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that is disrupting somebody, that we can at least show some type of proof that it was disrupting someone, rather than someone come and say, Judge, I only turned it on for 2 minutes and now we'll give a citation. 9 chances out of 10 the judge is going to throw that out. And then once he throws that one out, now that opens the floodgates for everybody else to start blaring the music. Just out of 27 years of experience.
What we have, what we have right now that's most relevant is 6301. It's 301B, makes unreasonable noise. It is, in fact, under a disorderly conduct provision, part 3 of that chapter. And of course, there's no time frame associated with it. So I guess that's going to be something for council to consider in enacting a more updated noise ordinance.
Can you do, like you said before, like a knock and talk? You know, a lot of times that does good, you know.
Obviously, do a knock and talk.
I do have the tag number of one of the worst ones that literally like flies through town and just as loud as it can be.
I would say when it occurs, give us a call. I'll put an email out to the officers and let them know that this is an issue down here and we still have a heads up.
When you say call 911, I don't call 911.
Well, there's a non-emergency number, but quite honestly, it goes to the same place. I mean, unless it's Monday through Friday during business hours, you can call the office, but everything gets dispatched from the 911 center. And whether you dial 911 or the non-emergency number that's listed out there, it all goes to the same place. It's okay. It's worth that for.
Anyone else? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Hi, my name is Christine Drummond, 491 Big Sky Drive. I have concerns. We had the weeding on the road. The gentleman that was doing the weeding put all the weeds in the middle of the road, so it's a safety hazard for the motorcycles, cars, the driving. It was very disgusting. I had to go take care of it myself. Sweep the entire block, 491, from one end to the other, and around the corner. So,
He was a,
contractor.
no,
No?
he was here doing public service.
Okay.
He was told to weed eat and walk. Not clean up, weed eat and walk.
Okay, so all the trash that he did, and I was a whole trash can, 32 gallons.
Everything he did was
But
church.
the next time though, when you do that, he should be able to clean it up too, for his customers,
There isn't enough
for
time,
community service.
there isn't enough time for one person to do that. Too much.
Then you need to make stipulations on how it is, unless you want people having accidents on the road, because that grass was everywhere. Yeah.
Well, it's the responsibility of that person that owns that property to do that.
In the middle of the road, sir?
It wasn't in the middle of the road.
Sir, yes, it was. Yes, it was, sir.
Well, what he's saying is, no response, that the curb in
Because-
front of,
Sure.
that's the homeowner responsibility to do. The borough had a public diving back.
So, but it was an issue, so I wanted to bring that up.
Okay. Thank you.
Homes 232 South Grove Street. I'm here about the ATV ordinance. What started the whole ATV ordinance should be brought up, passed, whatever.
What started?
Was there a big outcry from the community
Yep.
about it, or was it one or
Yep.
two people?
Yep, they're running through stop signs, running from vehicles.
Is there written complaints?
Nope.
No written
No
complaints?
verbal.
Just verbal?
Yep.
The other thing, some of the rules haven't read it, wasn't fair. Jason wasn't here the last time we discussed this. I went back and looked at the videos. We did not have a discussion the week that you were not here. We did not have a discussion. Everything was about the sewer at that point.
But that's when it was voted to be advertised. When I come back, my orders were to advertise it.
Jason had made a comment that he had drafted something up for council to look at, look over, if anything needed changed, addressed, whatever.
That was the month
To
I
do
was here.
that, and then it would go
That was
for
in
vote
June.
for advertising.
But that was in June. July is when they voted for advertising. They couldn't look at it and vote for were advertised at the same time.
No.
June is when they looked at it.
Okay, then we'll go to the other thing as far as the advertisement. We found it in Penn Live, we found it in, I guess, the Daily Record, whatever it was. Obviously on the webpage, the website, Goldsboro.
Yeah.
Everything was spelled wrong, the date was wrong.
It don't matter as long as it was advertised correctly in the paper.
Does anybody?
you need to
You don't say or make it sound like you're out of it.
Listen.
You have no
listen,
authority.
Listen, we'll let him, we'll do this. We're not gonna-
Now, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Does anybody proofread it before it goes out?
Yes.
I mean, because it seems like every time there's something big on the agenda, the date's always wrong.
Well, the
I mean, I can
ones
tell
in the
that.
paper, the ones in the paper is correct,
Right.
and that's the one we have to advertise. The other ones are just extra gestures.
Okay, well, we move on to things that are in that. The 100 to 150 foot from a property line rule. You know that does not work for one person in this borough.
That's why they have that mode.
Well, that's not fair.
Yeah, it is.
What would you recommend?
Yeah, what do you think is fair?
Well, the biggest problem is the kids running on the streets, up and down the road, blah, 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 whatever. If it's one kid in the yard that's bothering one person, doesn't justify, like you say, spending the money for these ordinances
It
to.
hasn't just been that, it's people up on the hill, riding circles, just around every day. Right here in town, riding around circles every day, irritate people that have to work in town, that are sleeping. So no, it's not just one incident, it is multiple incidents. And everyone does it, when you told them something, all they do is smirk at you.
Well, and it hasn't been recently, because most of these
It
kids
hasn't
are
been
driving cars now. They're not on the dirt bikes anymore, they've all graduated to vehicles. So the problem's kind of resolved. There is nothing in this community for the kids to do.
Then they all get into doing things.
And then like riding in their backyard, you said if there's a couple dirt chunks, it's an event. Well, what if they're doing it on their bicycles? How's it an event? Why you gotta pay for a permit for an event? I mean, we gotta have something for kids to do. The basketball court down here obviously isn't safe for anybody. They don't have the gymnasium anymore. Anybody that grew up here had gymnasium, you know that.
And that's been used over 4 years. 4 years that I've been here, I don't know how long before that. No one ever.
Well, like I said, I mean, it's not fair to the kids. I mean, basically, you're giving the kids a criminal record, which goes back to them getting into college, there's, all kinds of problems they're gonna create. But then you have somebody like me. My ATV, several of us use our ATV for yard work.
And does anybody
Mine
complain
is
about it?
registered, tagged, and insured.
Does anybody complain that it's tagged for DEP wrong?
And then come winter time, I plow the sidewalks both sides of town. Everybody knows that. Bad storms, I've been up as far as Don Wilkes' house. Just to help people out from shoveling the sidewalk.
Unless somebody complains about
So I can't do that
it.
now?
Unless somebody complains about it, I don't see we have a problem.
Well, I mean, according to the ordinance, I'm not allowed to do it. I
How
can't.
many things are in the ordinances that everybody does you every day and don't think about
I just think the ordinance.
Blowing
needs to
your
be rolled
grass.
over
it?
again.
Blowing your grass out in the street is highly against.
Oh, I hate that. I hear people all the time
Well,
about
guess
that.
what, Aaron? Almost 70% of the people do it. That's all we have to hold.
That's a state law. I mean, that's chief law.
That's not-
I mean, they're not gonna stop and
That's
enforce
not
it.
that's not his job.
Well, no, it is a state law.
That's-
I mean, I think if they roll up on somebody that is doing that, they should stop and give them a warning, then take it.
I don't think they can.
All right, well, like I said, I think the ordinance should be looked at again. I mean, there's things in there. It ain't right, it ain't gonna work. So as far as over vetoing the mayor or whatever, what's the procedure behind that? Jason, what kind of steps do they gotta go through, or they can just override the mayor, period?
Okay, so just as another point, this is not a question and answer period. I will tell you what it is. You'll see it later in the program today. But what'll have to happen is if the mayor makes his objections to the ordinance and presents it back to council, then a majority plus one of the elected council members have to affirmatively vote to override the mayor's veto. In this case, with seven council members, there would have to be 5 votes. And then we'll go around individually for the minutes, and they'll voice vote individually. So that's the process. It's 3301 of the borough code.
All right, that's what I got. Thank you.
You authorize work to be done in the borough. Anything else from the public?
Dan Pearl, from Red Clover. I'm in support of the mayor's veto. When the vote was taken, the vote was not listed on the agenda last month. Personally, I think it's a violation of what, Title 65, Section 79. The solicitors, you said elected members of council, or you just did members of council?
Elected, so we have 7, so it's gonna have to be 7.
Yeah.
Well, 7 are appointed. It's 7 members. We have 7 members.
Okay.
Council. So it would have to be 5 votes.
All right, I do think though, you guys, it sounded like the discussion with Ron there is a selectively enforced ordinance. Then come on, why bother? I think you guys should rethink this and do it correctly.
Hi, how are you guys? I'm also 220 South York Street. Last week, Randy and I sent an email to the mayor, borough manager, and the councilman. Some of them came back. So I just wanted to provide the letter to everyone in case we had wrong email addresses that I got off the website. Basically, it was just a follow-up to the August 14th meeting in regards to our chickens and all the steps that we have taken to try to help Doug and Tammy. I'm not sure if there's been more complaints. No one's come by and said anything. But I just wanted to get this information available to you guys.
What did you guys send to her? They are approved minutes now.
Right, when I looked for
You'll come back
yeah,
tomorrow.
we wanted to make sure we addressed it. I don't know if you might give this to somebody or.
What is it now?
This is just a copy of the email that was sent to the email addresses that were on the website. For everybody to use, all the steps that we taken. Yeah. So I don't know, I mean, we're open. I really wish I could communicate with my neighbors to try to figure out what it is that they're looking for. I mean, they're willing to do things to make them happy. And to not have them frustrated because we're frustrated too. So I just hope that we can leave the communication open so that we can have this and move forward. Thank you. And thank you for the, I appreciate it.
Anyone else? Moving on here, police report.
Good evening. Alright, for the month of August, we had no part 1 or part 2 crimes. We did have 3 citations, 3 warnings, 2 domestic incidents, and a total of 49 incidents. Those incidents were 911 hang-ups and complaints, business check, domestic, EMS call, information received, neighbor dispute, noise complaints, traffic complaints, and welfare checks. Other than that, I just urge everybody, like always do, to lock their vehicles, prevent crimes from happening. I was in the back researching your ordinance that you were referring to. We have them all listed on our policies, and it's falling underneath disorderly conduct. And the exact verbiage is one of which is almost the same as disorderly conduct within Title 18, which is good in some aspects, but bad in other aspects. Meaning, for us to cite disorderly conduct underneath the borough ordinance, we could do that, but it's going to be subjected to all the same case law in which citing under Title 18 is. So, what I would recommend that if you are revisiting that ordinance, that you do like most other boroughs and townships do, if you're revisiting and rewriting that, change it from disorderly conduct to something like disorderly practices or disturbing the peace or something like that, because otherwise, if we cite underneath, the judge obviously would be like, you need to cite underneath the proper section, which is Title 18, versus the borough ordinance. If it's underneath a different subsection, then obviously it doesn't fall within the case law of disorder. You know, you follow me? Meaning, someone turns on their boombox for a few minutes, I have to approve everything for the state statute, which 9 chances out of 10 will be thrown out. So, I would just be very careful when, if you're looking at rewriting that ordinance, do due diligence and make it to the point where if someone is causing a nuisance by, putting their stereo up and turning up the bass, that we actually have something to do, because other than the regs, we come in and complain, we can our hands are tied. Whether that's a time limit, whether that's, whatever you choose to do. And I wouldn't just limit it for bass, I'd do it for whatever. But the name is what is subjected to all the case law that falls back into Title 18. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because it's not so much, I hear it up there, and it's like that low drum.
I get it, it probably is very disturbing. I hear people drive by my house with the bass, but if we were to cite somebody at come underneath Title 18.
Yeah, I just mean it would be hard to enforce. I understand that, because it's like, you more like feel it almost, rather than.
It says
exactly.
It makes unreasonable noise, right?
Yeah, it's like somebody has a bass amp up there with about 12,000 watts, and they're just holding the one string. It's like.
Yeah. So just be good for a visit.
You could stop by and say, hey, can you turn it down? But here's the thing, you stop by and they turn it down, and the next day,
Mr. Hannon did.
They do it again. What recourse do we have? Right?
Maybe they'll listen to authority a little bit more than the neighbor.
I doubt.
Just pointing that out. I was back there looking at it. It was section 3, disorderly conduct. It spells out the elements are same as chapter 18.
Can't write enough ordinances. That's all it's to it. As long as one good way.
Well, one of the issues that we found over the last year or two is you don't quite know, especially with all the ordinances in the books, you don't quite know what the deficiencies are until you actually have to look up, okay, well, here's the situation we have now, what ordinance do we have that applies, and then also, is it up to date enough? Because really what you were talking about is vibration more so than noise. What I
it's like a low, very low pitch. You can just hear it, and it's like a constant. It's almost like, I don't know, just like continues, and you don't really, at first you don't realize it, and then when it stops, then you sense it, but it's more or less something you can feel rather than hear.
Right.
It's that low in whatever that scale is for bass or whatever you call it. So I hear it. I don't, like I said, but it's, I don't know how you can ever do anything about it, because I think where it's coming from.
Like I said, if you see it happen, give us a call. We'll at least go out there and try to knock and ask them
Kids
to.
that caused these motorcycle problems.
Okay.
Same kid now cleaned up all the motorcycle problems and they got cars.
Yep, they went from the motorcycles to the cars.
Yep.
That's exactly what happened.
Right in the corner of Riverview and Shells.
So noted.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions? Have a great meeting.
Fire report. Total calls for the month 11, total calls for the year 77. We had 2 in the 28 box, 1 in 31 box, 1 in the 9 box, 1 in 27 box, Yorkhaven, 1 in Fairview, 68 box. We had 4 fire crews, 2 automatic alarms, 1 gas leak, 2 motor vehicle accidents with injuries, and 2 structures. We had 2.5 hours of training for the month of August. September 22nd, we had bingo again, starts up, doors open at 5:30. September 24th, we have meat bingo being held over at the club at 1 p.m. The fire department has acquired a drone. We have 3 107 certifications completed with 2 more on their way, a total of 5 to go through FAA certification up to 35,000 or 3,500 feet for drone usage, and we're also looking at a thermal drone. I've reached out to the township in acquiring a duty vehicle solely for the purpose of training opportunities for firefighters that want to be able to drive so they don't have to use their own fuel. And for parts pickup and for a later date to be determined the use for the we had EV training at the end of the month, and we're going out tomorrow, weather permitted, for some drone time up at Red Mountain. That's all I have. What's that?
What would you call today?
It was just notifications for Research Summit. The tower at the summit went down Friday during the storm. There's some damage. Today they brought the tower down, did the repairs, notification, it was back online. That was it. That's all I have.
Anything else for fire report? Not in a motion to accept the police and fire reports?
Motion to accept.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor?
I'm gonna make this quick, and I apologize. Was notified to the office that I have to leave for another obligation. Long story short, I received a phone call from the ombudsman from the Department of Agriculture regarding the chickens. Answered minor questions regarding the ordinance and what was discussed. Nothing of significance. Provided the letter of verbal notification that was provided, I believe, to yourself, and provided a copy of that to the ombudsman. In light of that, as mayor, I am exercising ordinance number 81-1, section 6, providing a copy for the borough manager. I'm sure you're familiar with that. The solicitor's already been made aware of it. And one for the secretary. Same thing, Brett, during business hours.
Yeah, so just, as it pertains to your assistance and enforcement ordinances. What we had done, when Brett was in there, you guys kind of split up the easiest and most efficient way. Mostly, you guys could probably figure out the most efficient way to do that.
Also, any further violation letters are going to be directed from myself to the solicitor for review. And then once I receive that back from the solicitor, I'll send to the borough office for signature. Or I can print off and sign and drop off at the office.
On this item, with it being codes enforcement, that falls within the scope of both the mayor and borough council through the borough manager. So to the extent that anything's going out legally on behalf of the borough, it does make sense that NOVs are looked at, just in case something's in there that's not quite right.
That's all I have.
So it's only during the time that the office is open?
Solicitor's been briefed on the veto purpose.
Yeah. So, hold on. So, on the new business, there's the mayor wants to exercise a veto, and then also under new business, there is a veto override. So, first thing that the council would need to do, if they want to at this time, is make a vote to bump those items up in the agenda if they'd like. We can handle both of them now. Okay, well, we'll get to that. What's the question on the letter?
It says here, it's only during the period that the tower's in operation in the borough office. So that's all Charlie has to do?
Well, no, it's so the borough office is open part-time.
Yes.
So while it's open, if there's assistance in ordinance enforcement items. As I understand this, and the mayor's here, he can speak to it, but he's just trying to split up the, workload.
We've done it, so it's been there.
Well, this is putting it in official terms
It wasn't
for all parties. Well, not by law.
Yeah, he needed that.
I think the important point, at least on, as I understand it, on this, is with the borough office being open part-time, figuring out how to efficiently do it is a good idea. So, at least that's.
I'm just putting it on record, that's all.
Just some days, not the week, because of things like that.
Yeah, and I'm talking like weekends, holidays, evenings, I'm here, and that's not an issue. As long as it's like because I've got phone calls at work regarding ordinances.
From all residents.
Residents, yes. So, you know, it's easier for me to be able to go and redirect as long as I know the office is manned by yourself instead of dragging it out while I'm on official work hours. Does that answer your question, Pete? Sure. All right. I'm going to be excused.
If you want, then you can stay.
I've already voiced with you my concern
we
with
should at
the
least put up, for the minutes purposes, what you would like to say.
I had vetoed the ordinance with the intention of revisiting the 150 feet. I don't think 150 feet, I think 150 feet is excessive. I'm not saying to not approve it, I'm saying 150 feet is excessive. I'm also saying again and reiterating observations of my own of what I've seen, everybody's graduated. But I think there needs to be further discussion, or at least open discussion, regarding the 150 feet and the operation within the yards of landlords. If it's owned by a landlord, they're not authorized to do so. And the hours of operation, if that was to be considered. Because in this borough, honestly, you can go to any other borough and show me an ordinance that's written covering an ATV of 150 feet. That'll shut me down right away. Just consideration, even at 50 feet, I think would be a little bit different.
I did have to drive right down the middle of the road and back,
That's what they were doing up here anyway.
So before you leave, just so that we get this on there, does council want to make a vote to bump the mayor veto up in the agenda to the mayor's report, so what he just read, and then that'd be the first vote, and then make a second vote to bump up, if council so chooses, an override vote while it's in this portion of the agenda.
Yes.
So the first motion you'd be looking for would be a motion to move the mayor's veto up in the agenda to the mayor's report.
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right, so the minutes should reflect that the mayor's veto is now part of that report, due to, he has to leave. So. And then the second motion.
I'll make a motion that we override the veto.
Move it up in the agenda.
Yes. And move it up. I made that motion to move it up. I'm gonna make the motion to override the veto.
I'll second it.
One motion at a time.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on the veto?
Any discussion on the veto? Go ahead.
The question was, because in July, you said you were gonna bring up the ordinance again in August. I cannot find the meeting notes for July. You were gonna discuss it again in August, before you put it on to express it out. So where are the meeting notes for July?
It's not there.
No, they're not there, correct.
Is there any, and again, this is for members of council, is there discussion on the override?
Just the council members.
I don't have any questions.
No.
So at this point, each member will need to vote individually. You'll call each member individually to give a voice vote for the minutes on, and this would be a yay or a nay.
Yay pass.
On overriding the veto. Yay to override the veto, nay to not override the veto.
They have to stick their name to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start with Matt.
Yay.
Melissa?
Yay.
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 It's 95 votes. So it's over with.
Done.
2 days in the hopper session.
Okay, I need a motion to accept the mayor's report.
Make the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Council has a copy of ELHP and Water Company reports. There's no additions or corrections. I need a motion to approve.
Make the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anything from the engineer?
No. He's still down the storms will be.
Mr. Solicitor.
Okay, so the one item here on motorized vehicles, given when this was, the agenda was put together, the new business items with veto, that's what I was gonna discuss on that. The other, point that I would just raise is with the noise considerations that came up today, I would certainly encourage council to think about what you might like to see in a noise ordinance. If you want to pursue a more updated noise ordinance, we discussed, one and had draft copies a few months ago. Now that we have some citizens' remarks on that becoming an issue, I would just encourage council to explore that a little more. That's it.
Anything else for the solicitor? Need a motion to accept the solicitor's report?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Committee reports. Buildings and grounds.
The Monkey Center is gone, which you know you have missed, but
Yeah.
finally gone.
They made short work of that thing.
It's gonna be a nice new steel building now, so it'll look nice.
Yeah. I don't know if Brian got in there. I told him to get his metal detector.
Oh, okay.
He did that night.
Did he?
Yeah, he went back.
Did he find
He
anything?
found like an old badge he gave him, an old wallet that had an old letter in it. He
Cool.
found all kind of trinkets.
Cool.
Good.
Emergency management.
He's not here, so nothing on that.
Finance. It's a refuge increase.
Yes, we need to do something about it. It's starting to just, we need some kind of increase. I don't know what you guys feel.
Isn't our, what their finance committee do? Or our budget?
Yeah, but we need it now. So $700 extra so far, because we have so many non-payments. So the people who pay the bill need to get the bill increased so they can pay for the non-payment people.
We're gonna put that on the agenda for next month.
It is on the agenda.
For next month.
So,
We'll look at this a little bit.
Yeah, how's that fair?
We can discuss it, but let's put it on the agenda for a vote next month. Why don't we talk a little bit about why it needs to come off?
I did a 6-month breakdown. We collected $9,510 in January, $10,972.50 February, $12,202.50 in March. April was $6,060. May was $15,492.50, and June was $8,332.50. That was a total income of $62,570. Refuge paid $10,332 for 32 cents. I'm sorry, $10,300 32 cents for 6 months. That's 6 hours where it was for 6 months. $62,570 for 6 months. The Refuge paid $10,332 for 6 months, which came out to $61,801.92. Gave us a surplus of $768.08. We can't survive on that.
What's our revenue a month?
10,000.
10,000.
300.
10,300.
Yep.
So you're saying we have people's not paying their refuse bill? It goes to the electric.
Yeah.
So we actually should be getting that money back. It's
But
just,
then it goes to the next month. The obituary to overtime.
yeah.
It's a constant ongoing thing. So we have to dig out of the general fund to bail it out.
So they're not paying their electric too, or they're just not paying the trash part?
If you pay trash, you pay electric. If you pay electric, you pay
Right.
trash. They're not paying either.
So they're not just paying partial?
But we'll go 2 months, 4 months without paying. If we send it takes 4 months to do certified letters and everything before I can pull them. 3 of them pulled this week.
Then we sometimes run into an issue during the winter months.
I don't. The winter time, I still pull. We're not regulated.
Well, no, I mean with people paying and then not paying.
Yeah. Oh, it's all year long. It's all year long, yeah. We're not regulated by the PUC, so I can pull anytime.
No, but folks will sometimes not pay those utility bills in the warmer months.
Yeah.
And then start paying them in the cold months.
I mean, today alone, we spent, what, 30? We mailed out 30 letters just for delinquent payments on the electric. I mean, not only are we spending the money to have the secretary write that up, paying for the postage, time the process and everything, and it's a reminder letter. I can't imagine why people can't be responsible enough to know their electric bill is coming, that we have to send out reminder letters for them to pay their bill.
Yeah, but then you gotta look at some people with the economy and the way, the prices of everything, food, everything else now.
They have the option to come up and set up payments.
They don't take that.
They don't take any initiative at all. I've done the collections for probably 5 years, maybe years ago, and it's the same people over and over again. And it gets very frustrating because that's why we had to put the apartments and all the rentals in the landlord's names, because we got burned for God knows how much money in 2013. I'd say probably at least $10,000 to $20,000 from people, that people that just packed up and moved out because we didn't pull their meter in the winter hours. And it's not right. I don't want to pay your electric bill. I don't want to pay any. I pay my own electric bill. I'm not here to pay other people's electric bills.
So we're talking like 30 people out of 400 and whatever.
What's the current,
late fee?
10%.
No, it's more than 30, it's more than 30 that don't pay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's 4 and 30. This is just after a certain period of time we send out a reminder letter. And today I was just looking at it and looking at the time that was spent to do this, and it's your responsibility.
So when you go to court, don't you take interest of it and then your time you put on top of it? To claim it back?
Well, the thing of it is, we really don't go to court on it. What we have to do is we have to put a lien on the property first, and then we have to go, if they don't do anything, then we can go for a sheriff's sale. But that costs us also another $2,500 at least to do that,
Well,
to start the process.
it's still, our pot goes empty too.
Yeah.
So, they don't send their money in, we don't have our money to send it to them. That's what you do, you're not gonna collect the trash.
Yeah, but people, I mean, other residents ain't gonna look at that fairly if you're gonna raise the rates to pay for that certain amount of people. I mean, that's something you need to have a serious discussion about.
Yeah, but you give us a better answer as to where to get this money.
Hold the meters,
Pardon?
hold the meters.
We do that.
You should get your money shortly after that.
You just can't.
You'd be surprised at how long it goes that people don't put a meter on
You wanna
there.
go up and see how many meters are in my office with their numbers on? And some of them been there for 5 months now, and they still own the property.
We're still living there.
There's no sign of anybody that done.
Well, it's habitable if they're electric.
The one had dogs for 3 months after I shut the electric off. They saw me running the bell up.
I mean, I'd welcome any suggestions that y'all wanna give. You complain that we don't work together, let's hear them.
Well, yeah, if we're all gonna pay $1 or if we're gonna pay somebody else's electric bill. I mean, there's a big difference.
You haven't had electric increase for years. If through all this increase, you guys have not got a one.
Well, then just make sure that's justified to the residents, and that's not why it's being done. If we need an increase, we get it.
There is no, we're not gonna be utility increase. Since I cut the trees, we don't have a problem.
I think it's something that we definitely gotta look into a little bit further, at least in my opinion.
Yeah. Huh?
Well, there's a clause too that in the contract that
We
if
have
the fuel costs go up, they can surcharge us
Right.
for any amount that is, that they see fit.
and we're starting into our second year. They're gonna increase, they increase 3-year contract, it increases every year for 3 years. Then we go back over the again. That's just the way it works.
Did that,
We can't dig a hole and bury it anymore.
Yep.
did that lift fee go up this year too?
Tipping
Tipping fee, rather.
No, we didn't get an increase on it, but we did fuel surcharges and we didn't do an increase when we signed the contract. We should have been since then, because we were close to it. Need to get together, talk about it, and make a decision.
Yeah, I would just say put that on the agenda for next month.
We welcome any input.
Well, if you put that out there on the next agenda, we'll see how many people show up to give input.
Input and answers.
Yeah, answers is a big thing.
Work on getting a solution. We don't wanna sit here and raise anybody's taxes. It's not the whole idea of this.
Again,
But we've gotta make sure that things are running.
You understand what I'm saying? And if I don't pay the full bill, they charge late fee for the full bill.
Okay, so we'll put that on next month's agenda. West Shore Rec,
West Shore Rec, that's actually gone, but don't step on the toes there. They're asking for an increase. No, they're not asking for an increase. It's gonna be increased
Yeah.
to 310. They're automatically increasing it.
10 cents a resident.
Resident, yep.
And from the discussion and what they're doing is, they have increased for quite a few years, I forget how many, exactly number of years.
Might only be 1 or 2. 2 at the most.
Is it 2 years every year?
Yep.
Okay.
That's a big increase.
But their thing is their budget to run the West Shore Rec is only paid by 20 or 30% of townships and the boroughs. Where other places are 70% is paid by the boroughs and stuff, so it's relatively cheap for what we get for our money.
If people use it.
Yeah, I wanna ask them what,
That's why Newbury went to the thing of, you go and they'll pay your way. Because it's cheaper than paying West Shore all this money every year, because you only get a handful of people that use it.
but if you have other boroughs and townships go that way, it's gonna be non-existent.
Yes.
What's the current cost?
It's went up to $3.10 a person.
Per was $3.
That was
one
$3.
of a dime, which
Went up a dime.
almost insignificant.
And they'll be here in November to talk about it.
We ain't gonna go broke over a dime.
Yeah, it was like 89 or so dollars extra.
So I need a vote to approve or disapprove.
Need a motion?
I'll make the motion that we approve the payment to the West Shore Rec for citizens
For $3.10.
for $3.10 a person.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So be it. Planning. Anything?
Planning, that's football for all the
Okay. Recreation, we're at the dog park.
Yes. I found some used fence and posts, so I will be able to soon start, getting some up. I'm gonna pick some up tomorrow. So hopefully we'll soon be over. That's all I meant.
Sanitation and sewer, have nothing to report there. Streets and highways, Whistler and Mansburg.
Yes, Whistler is done. It's seeded, pipes in, and the bump is out of the road, and it's already paved there. And it's paved down to,
Thank you for the bump being on.
and the dip down the corner, I fixed that with a box top, and they repaved all around that. That's done. Mansburger is boxes in, they patched around it. They've got a paved Mansburger yet. And Fishing Creek, which is the one here, that's being paved at the same time. And then it's all being turned over to FEMA at that point. It'll be done.
And what about the Carlton property with the stone and stuff like that? How do we
So,
address that?
Well, they dug all that stone up anyways. The stone that was put
let
down
me,
all the way
let me
across.
tell him what, we dug the ditches out like we were supposed to, put the 4-inch ditch in. I called Stephanie House that day, and I told Debbie to have Stephanie call me. I need to be able to get on her property to put tapered edges on that ditch so she can get in and out. So Mr. Combs taken it upon himself that Saturday to call Sean Cronin and tell him to get down there and put stones in that ditch. Stones cannot be in that ditch. That ditch must be wide open so water can flow in, not come back out in the road like it always does. So I told Sean I will not pay him for that as a borough. So you guys need to make a determination of what you want to do. If you want to pay him for that time or send the bill somewhere else.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm talking about. JR then went down through there and took all the stones completely out of there.
This was about you making a call.
Right.
Steph called me and said she couldn't get her lawn tractor out of the pasture. And she said that could I call, she wouldn't talk to Charlie. If I could call Charlie or call Sean to see if somebody could do something. She understands there needs to be a swale there. It took him 3 seconds to do what he did.
But it was a time getting there and getting back, and it was machine.
No, he did it, the boy stopped and did it on the way home.
Anyway,
Doesn't matter.
But you
You're
still
not
have to do something
authorized
for her
to
driveway.
you don't have the right to
You don't have the right to call.
I called for Steph.
I don't.
You don't have the right to call
You
anybody.
authorized it. Theoretically, you're responsible for it.
You fixed Emily's driveway, what are you gonna do for her driveway? Cause that is a driveway.
That's right, it's a paved driveway, so we must repave it.
Her driveway to the gate.
Now, that is a farm road.
Well,
So
she
we
said
farm
it's
field.
gonna be a driveway.
That's all it is. It's not a driveway, it is a farm road to a farm field. And I called and asked permission to get on her property to taper the bank, so it would be just a real low transition. Wouldn't give it. So I had to wait till the
Well, I
next
can't
week.
help that, you know how she is.
She never did give it, so I took the stones back out, because it needed to be the gutter down through, and then she come down through pitching, bellowing and hollering, so I just took the skid loader and cut it out, so she could get in that.
Well, she must be getting in and out of it now, because she had the tractor out the other day in the grass
Right.
over the road.
That's right.
Fact is that you made an unauthorized phone call and brought a contractor in to do something that you were not supposed to do.
Don't go there with me, seriously.
Why?
It wasn't no authorization for anything. I called probably because she asked me to. Sean didn't have to go there and do anything. So don't try to put it on me.
Okay.
No, they won't bill me, they know I let the bill, or I will not pay.
Just wanted to bring that up. I don't need authorized stuff. Under electric and utility and water company, anything there? We had a water down the other week. I don't know what caused it, but I found it working.
And the generator down, we got that back up on.
Anything under zoning?
No.
Anything else under committee reports? Not a need a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept them.
Second.
All those in favor? Any unfinished business? We've already moved, new business up. Moving on to the treasurer's report. There's no additions or corrections. I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to accept them.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Council has a copy of the bills. I need a motion to pay the bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any other announcements?
I just have one question. You said Fishing Creek is done except for blacktopping? That's all they need to do? Does that get blacktop all the way to the bank?
No.
So it's just gonna go to the front of the box,
Don't get blacktop around the back of the box.
but the boxes are all done, all that's, everything's hooked up?
Yep. So whoever called DEP about it being done illegal, they have no leg to stand on. DEP's already in contact with us, everything's okay.
Not, I need the final motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?